Hey guys, Eerie is here and welcome along to another video. Now, most of my time these days is spent doing serious stuff on Gran Turismo Sport. With all the other priorities we all have, I and many others spend most of our time preparing for or are in the FIA Nations Cup and Manufacturers Series Championships. Now these are great, but sometimes I just want to turn on the PlayStation and race for fun, without worrying about losing driver rating or having my sportsmanship rating ruined, and not being scared about binning it. It's also very important for me to set aside time for that, especially after the couple of recent races we've had. So in this one I'm going to cover a couple of races I did in this week's Daily Race C. We're here at Laguna Seca, a track I fell in love with in Gran Turismo 3 and in the Beetle, a car I very much enjoy. And we're going to race with no pressure at all and just try and have a bit of fun. But before we get into that, if you're new around here, this channel is all about me, a typical guy trying to compete at the highest level I can in my passion, which is sim racing. In the spare time that I have whilst juggling everything everyday life throws at me, I share with you my sim racing journey, the good, the bad and sometimes the ugly. So if you can relate, please do hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. So you join me here in the detached time trial section at Laguna Seca, not in the Beetle, but in the car of choice it seemed for quali, the Renault RS01. Now some cars are good quali cars, i.e. cars when there's no fuel or tyre settings, but then right pigs if you were to use them in the race. And this car is probably the epitome and perfect example of this. It's great in quali, but as we found out ourselves, it can try and kill you in a race. My best lap for this turned out to be a 1 minute 21.859, which I was happy with, to be honest. It was a second off the top 10 times when I set it. I love Laguna Seca as I say, but it's far from my strongest track. So this lap should do me okay, not great, but okay, and we're going to take it into the race itself. So here we are then, lined up for race number 1, and as you can see this is a slightly lower lobby than we're used to, and that's because last time we used this account it was for the Nürburgring Nordschleife first to last challenge, so the SR took a bit of a hit there and we're in the lower part of S. But as we're here with our foot flat to the floor burning fuel, because fuel isn't an issue here, so we want the car to be as light as possible, we're going to get ourselves underway. And I think I've mentioned about 2 or 3 times now we're at Laguna Seca for this one. We're in the Group 3 cars, I'm in the Beetle, something else I've mentioned multiple times, and we have 13 laps here. The fuel and tyre settings are so low that we don't need to worry about them at all. This one is going to be a flat out sprint. This is my first race out of the box today, so expect a few moments, and the first one is going to arrive here as I get a tank slapper on coming through Rainy Curve after the corkscrew. Now you'll see I just about managed to hold it, but lose loads of speed and bunch up 3rd and 4th behind. Then as we come through and out of the final corner, 3rd is going to get himself a penalty. Not sure if that was due to contact with me, so if so, apologies for that, or if it was due to something else. And following my mistake, the Swiss in the lead has made a break for it, and when the Spaniard behind serves his penalty, there are going to be no cars between myself and Derek, who is a well-known quick driver here on GT Sport. He must have been having some SR related issues to be down here in this lobby with us, and we're going to get overtaken by Derek, pushing us down to 3rd here on lap number 5. Up ahead though, the leader is going to go off coming through turn number 6 at the start of the Rahal straight. The time he loses puts him under direct pressure from Derek. With his tyres still being dirty, he's going to get sideways and loses the lead coming through the corkscrew. We're now sat behind. I'm seeing him sliding around and making mistakes, so I'm going to keep the pressure on as much as I can here. But just bide my time for a bit to see if he either goes off because he has destroyed his tyres or goes off because of a mistake. I'll work to keep my tyres in the meantime in as good a condition as possible, so if either of the 2 aforementioned scenarios don't happen, we have the tyres underneath us to go and attack and try and take the place in the final stages. Moving ahead to the lap stages now, here on lap 11 I'm going to do the same as the Subaru did earlier. Running a little bit wide here and having a huge moment, again managed to just about hold it, Unfortunately though, all our momentum is lost coming up the hill and we're down to 4th, as the Spaniard who got a penalty earlier makes their way through. But I'm racing here for fun and I want to keep this position, and we're going to go side by side here through turn number 9 and then turn number 10. But I'm going to end up having the inside here and take the position back. Great racing there. We both respected each other and gave each other room. A tiny glimpse there of how it should be done here on Gran Turismo Sport. So thanks to you, JKT_Newcots, if you are watching this. On the next lap, the Subaru has, as expected, destroyed his tyres and almost drops it coming out of turn number 3, but then fully drops it at turn number 6 a little bit later on in the lap, allowing us to take 2nd place. It was then just a case of consolidating this second, to be honest. Derek was way off into the distance, he had great pace and consistency there. So well done to him. Our tyres are feeling pretty second hand now, and as we've seen, it's very easy to bin it here, and there's not much in the way of a runoff area, so need to drive within our limits and just bring this one home, which we managed to do, managing the remaining stages here. Held on to it with the Spaniard right behind us, as you can see there, and we're going to come across the line to take 2nd place. And with that 2nd place in the bag, we're going to move on to the 2nd race here now. And because of the clean race that we just covered, we're now in the top lobby. And we're starting, as a result, down in 14th. Now there's lots of well-known and very fast drivers in this one, as usual on a Monday night. We're off the pace a little bit, so not expecting to see too much of those guys in this one, but we're going to try our best here, and we're just going to have some fun, as we've been trying to throughout, and maybe, just maybe, try and sneak a top 10. I think that'll be a good result for us in this one. I also note as well, the Swiss is up ahead. There you can see him in 13th, and Derek is behind. They've both joined us from the previous lobby. Now, the Swiss who we saw last time out is going to have to manage a huge lunge from me as we go into the corkscrew here on lap number 1. I get it just about stopped, but he's going to come back underneath me. Olé, I think I've called it multiple times before. So we didn't manage to take the position there, but we do here, as he is going to go wide coming out of the corkscrew on the very next lap, and up to 13th we go. There is a group up in front that I'm hoping to get onto the back of. I need to as well if there's any hope of sneaking into the top 10, but I'm flat out here and there's no runoff, so it's going to be really tough here, and I'm going to have to be really careful if I am going to safely catch up to them. Moving ahead to lap number 5 here, we've kept our head down and managed to catch up slightly to the group up in front. And coming out of the final corner here, there's going to be a spin from the Brit in the GTR and then a quit. We shall say nothing more about that quit, because you know my views on it. And we're up to 12th place as a result. Lap number 9 now, and we're right with them. I'm going to make a mistake here and go deep into the final corner, allowing Derek, who's been sat behind us the whole time, up the inside. So we're down to 13th, but hopefully Derek will go and get stuck into the group up in front and we can pick up some scraps. That's the plan anyway. And unfortunately for Jev, he is going to go ahead and do exactly that. Jev is going to go wide, losing all momentum here, coming up towards the corkscrew, allowing Derek up the inside into the braking zone. Now there is contact here. I don't think it was intentional, but as a result, Jeff unfortunately goes round. We couldn't avoid him and give him the slightest of touches to, I presume, help him on his way. Sorry buddy, which gets us a 3-second penalty, whilst amazingly, Derek gets nothing at all. Now, I would have been annoyed had this be on our main account, but this is why I have a second account. The exact reason I have a second account actually. So whilst annoying, there is no permanent damage and the race is far from over yet. So we're going to get our penalty served here, and then later on in the lap, the Italian is going to go round at the final corner, gifting us 11th place. And moving on to the final lap now, the Brit goes wide, as we've seen quite a lot in these last two races, at the exit of turn number 6, and we're going to end up right behind him coming through the corkscrew. We're side by side here. I scrubbed some speed off to give him some space, but thankfully I didn't need it, as unfortunately for him, he's going to go off. and unexpectedly up into the top 10 we go. And that was the way it was going to stay. So 2 not great results, but it wasn't about that for me today. I thoroughly enjoyed it, which is what it was all about. As I mentioned earlier, it's easy to get lost in the competitive tide of everything and forget just to have fun, which is why of course we all partake in sim racing, which admittedly I hadn't been doing, that is having fun, in the last 2 races. So to get these in was great, and this is exactly the reason why I have a second account. Nothing we did today affects our main account, so we're going to be in the same lobbies as before and we're good to go for this week. The next race is at Big Willow, and I look forward to seeing you all after that one. But good luck guys if you're taking place in that one, and for now this is going to be the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already. Thanks again so much for watching guys, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.